Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Saritha. In this video, I would like to present about Wilfredo Pareto's logical and non-logical actions. Wilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist, sociologist, and philosopher whose work has had a lasting impact on economic theory as well as in sociology. He was born in Paris to Italian parents. Pareto initially trained as an engineer and earned a degree in engineering from the Polytechnic University of Turin. His early career involved work as a civil engineer, but his interests shifted toward economics and sociology, particularly after 1890, when he succeeded Leon Walras as the uh, chair of political economy at the University of Lausanne in Switzerland. Also, he is known for his major contributions in sociology, particularly the concepts like circulation of elites and the Pareto principle, which is called as 80-20 rule. Wilfredo Pareto's early life and education. As I told you already, Pareto was born on July 15th, 1848 in Paris, France. His family had aristocratic roots. About his education, he studied engineering at the Polytechnic Institute in Turin, Italy. Also, he has graduated in the year 1870. He worked in various engineering related activities as well as he has held a lot of managerial roles. His career in economics is very important to notable. Before fully engaging in academia, Pareto worked as an engineer and manager in several companies. He has gained a lot of practical insights into economic systems so that he has contributed more in behavioral economics, also in sociology. His shift to academia, Pareto becoming a lecturer in political economy at the University of Turin in 1893. His work during this period focused on economics as well as in social sciences. Major contributions of Wilfredo Pareto. In his book he has written in the year 1896, he has introduced what later became known as the Pareto's principle or the 80-20 rule that roughly explained about the 80% of effects come from 20% of causes. Major actions which is based on 20% of causes creating the 80% of impact or which is driving the 80% of actions by the 20% of causes, he is telling. Second major important theory is circulation of elites in sociology. The Mind and Society, he has written in the year 1916. He has developed the theory of the circulation of elites, arguing that societal change is driven by the replacement of one elite group by the another as new social forces emerge. Third one is economic theory. He contributed to welfare economics, which is focusing on how economic systems function and how wealth is distributed. He advocated for a more nuanced understanding of economics that included psychological factors influencing human behavior. His theory about this logical action. He has explained that logical action is one that driven by rational thought and clear reasoning. Which action is having the rational thought and clear reasoning may called as logical action. Also, logical actions are directly connected to an objective or goal, and the steps taken can be explained and justified. What are all the actions I'm going to do? what is the reason for that, what are the methods I'm going to use for that doing particular action, will be explained and justified with reasons. Also, logical actions are focused on a cause and effect relationship where the individual consciously considers the means to achieve a specific end. All logical actions have the focused, as we said, cause and effect relationship, because all the actions are based on the reasons. The actions are arised from the reasons and the cause also, which is having the clear impact. So where the individual consciously consider the means to achieve the specific end. What is the output I'm going to get out of this action will be defined by the person very clearly. That is called as logical action. Also, the logical actions are verifiable and measurable, meaning the action's outcome can be observed and assessed against the intended goal. What I expected when I am completing this goal, what I have achieved can be clearly measured after the action. So it is verifiable and measurable how far I have achieved. That can be measured. So it is verifiable and measurable, also focused on cause and effect relationship, also directly connected to an objective or goal, which is driven by rational thought and clear reasoning, may called as logical action. The characteristics of logical actions. The logical actions are goal oriented. The person performing the action has a clear objective. That is goal oriented. The actions which is having the clear objective, which is I am going to do, that will be clearly defined by the person. Also, deliberate reasoning. As we said already, the logical actions have deliberate reasoning. They consider multiple options, weigh the pros and cons, and select the one they believe will best achieve the desired result. Already they come to know about what are all the outputs, which are all the desirable outcomes, which is positive, which is creating the great impact. Everything will be defined priorly by the person, because which is having the deliberate reason. For this purpose only I am going to do. So this will create this kind of impact. The efficiency of that logical actions. Logical actions aim to use the most efficient means to accomplish the goal, because each and every step will be clearly explained by the logical actions. For achieving that particular impact, what are all the strategies, what are the methods or the steps I'm going to take for that particular actions will be defined by the person, individual person. So, the logical actions have the efficient means to accomplish the goal. Fourth one is predictable. Logical actions are often predictable because they follow a rational pattern. Because as we said, as I told you already, these are all the steps I'm going to take. In each step or the each stage, I'm not supposed to disturb or uh, uh, influence anybody in that particular actions. So which is not having any negative impact. So obviously it is having the rational pattern. For example, consider a person saving money for his retirement or her retirement. They choose logical actions such as investing in a particular scheme or the particular amount from their salary, because these actions are structured to help them achieve the specific goal of financial security in retirement when they want to have a desirable outcome. In a present conditions, uh, most of the persons may not have any retirement benefits in their work. For their retirement period, they are supposed to plan now. So it may be uh, depends upon their interest from their salary. 30% or 20% money can be saved or will be saved for their retirement benefits. During the retirement age, they can use that money. So they believe that that will be useful for their future retirement period. So in summary, the characteristics of logical actions include goal-oriented, deliberate reasoning, efficiency, and also the logical actions are predictable. So logical actions are characterized by intentional planning, analysis, and goal-directed behaviors where outcomes align closely with the individual's reasoning. What is the reason for taking that initiating that particular actions will have the great impact, since it is having the defined stages and strategies. Second one is non-logical action, which is opposite to logical action. Pareto is defining non-logical actions are not based on clear rational reasoning or logical thought process. The non-logical actions which are not having the logical thought processes. If you ask any persons why you have done that particular actions, they may not in a position to explain why he has done so. It may be a positive action, it may be a negative action. When the person is not having that clear explanation why he has done that particular action, it may be called as non-logical action. This non-logical actions may often arise from impulses, emotions, customs, or habits rather than structured decision making. As I told you already, the logical actions are having the structured or defined strategies and methods or stages which is having the clear cause and effect. But here the non-logical actions are arise from impulses, emotions, customs or habits. Also, it does not have any cause and effect connection that can be verified. It cannot be verified once after the action is over. Also, it may not have an obvious or specific goal. Instead, they can be spontaneous or subconsciously influenced. They did not have any clear objective or a goal, but they do spontaneously or subconsciously influenced actions. So non-logical actions are not based on clear rational reasoning or logical thought processes. It may not have an obvious or specific goal. Instead, they can be spontaneous or subconsciously influenced. It is arise from impulses, emotions, customs, or habits. The characteristics of non-logical actions. There are the four characteristics. First one is emotion driven. Many non-logical actions are based on emotions such as anger, love, or fear. Yes, non-logical actions may not have any cause or reasons, since it is arisen from our impulses and emotions. Out of our anger or out of our love or fear, we may do some actions. After the actions, if you ask anybody why you have done so, they may not in a position to explain why he has done that. Because of his anger, because of his fear, because of his now love, they may do something which is not having the reasons or the causes. The second one is influenced by tradition or social norms. Some non-logical actions occur because they are just the way things are done, or non-logical actions are traditional practices. If most of the festivals celebrated by many people, if you ask them why such kind of festivals are celebrated, when they started to celebrate it, what is the reason behind that, some of the rituals they may do, why they are doing that. If you ask this kind of questions, they may not in a position to explain. Since their forefathers are doing, I am doing now, they'll say. Since it is a tradition, since everyone are doing, I am doing so, they'll say. But they may not know the actual reasons or the cause, when is the inception of that particular festival or the ritual which are followed by themselves, which is non-logical, because they may not know the cause and just they are doing since everybody is doing or since it is a tradition. So the non-logical actions are influenced by tradition or social norms. Third one is less predictable. Non-logical actions are less predictable as they depend more on situational and emotional factors than on a systematic approach. The person who is doing some actions which is arised from his own impulses or emotions, they may not know the reason why he is doing so. Since it is emotions based actions, the emotions are fully based on human beings. The human beings' emotions are not static. The emotions itself is a unpredictable one. So, the non-logical actions are based on the emotions and impulses, which is already unpredictable. The actions also less predictable, whether the persons will behave in such a way or not, that is totally situational. Also, the person's emotional state of status on that particular situation. So, the non-logical actions are less predictable, which is based on more depend on situational and emotional. There is no systematic approach. When he is doing one activity out of his emotions, it may not have any systematic approach. After this, before that, I'm supposed to do this or that. No. Out of his impulses, he will do whatever he wants to do. So, the non-logical actions are less predictable. Most of the time, most of the people will do lot of non-logical actions which is less predictable since it is based on emotions. Also, it is based on unconscious motives. The unconscious motives are the base for the non-logical actions. Pareto believed that non-logical actions could be driven by underlying motives not fully understood by the individual themselves. It may be driven by underlying motives, but why I am doing in such a way that itself the person, that me, may not know why I am doing so in sometimes some situations. So I may not know the actual cause for that particular actions. But I want to have a social approval or cultural influence. It may be my actions may be influenced by cultural factors, which is already based on traditions, as I said. So it is based on our unconscious motives. since I'm in a position to receive a cultural or social approval from the society, depends upon the situation, I may react or I may do any kind of actions. So the characteristics of non-logical actions are emotion driven, also influenced by tradition or social norms, which is less predictable, which is based on unconscious motives. For example, the non-logical action might be someone who buys an expensive item on impulse without a clear reason, like a brand new car, simply because they felt an emotional urge or a need to impress others. Since my neighbor has bought that particular car, I want to buy that. Uh, I also wants to buy that car. I may think, which is not having any clear motive, or if the person is buying any other items in the next day, I also wants to have that, to acquire that particular uh, commodity or any other things I would like to buy because of the culture, social approval. Then only I will get the uh, respect or approval from my neighborhood or from my among my relatives. So it may be called as non-logical actions, which is not having any proper planning, which is not having any cause and effect. But I wants to impress others, so I wants to buy that. So such type of actions called as non-logical actions. In summary, non-logical actions are behaviors that do not rely on a logical path toward a goal. There is no goal when you are doing non-logical actions. Based on your impulse, you will do. Instead, they are influenced by emotions, traditions, or unconscious motives, which may lead to unpredictable or unintended outcomes. Here is the comparison of logical versus non-logical actions. There are the aspects which is based on the logical actions are based on rational thought and clear reasoning, but the non-logical actions are based on emotion, habit, tradition, or unconscious motives. The logical actions are goal-oriented with a specific objective in mind, but the non-logical actions are not goal-oriented. They are oriented towards our emotions, habits, traditions, or unconscious motives. Logical actions are predictable, highly predictable due to cause and effect logic, but the non-logical actions are unpredictable or less predictable because often it arises from no specific objective or reasons. It may be spontaneous. Logical actions are verifiable because the outcome can be assessed against the intended goal, but the outcome may not be clearly connected to any goal in non-logical actions. Example, saving money for retirement is logical action, but because of my impulse, I'm doing some actions or buying some items. Since the neighbor is acquired that one, I wants to buy that particular uh, car or bike, whatever it may be. Maybe the example for a non-logical action. So the significance of Pareto's concept. Pareto's distinction between logical and non-logical actions helped to expand sociology's understanding of human behavior by recognizing that not all actions are rational. There are irrational activities also there, he's explained. His work illustrated that many social, economic actions are influenced by complex motivations, not always visible or logical. This distinction also laid the foundation for later theories in behavioral economics and psychology, where scholars study how humans often make irrational decisions due to biases, emotions, and social influences. In essence, Pareto's classification shows that both logical and non-logical actions shape human societies, because every day there are a lot of logical and non-logical actions are happening in the society, which is shaping the human societies, each contributing that logical and non-logical reasons are contributing to the diversity and complexity of social behaviors, also uh, influencing the social activities. These are some references. So I would like to thank everyone for your patience listening. You might have had the clear understanding about the Pareto's logical and non-logical actions in this video. Once again, thank you everyone.